host of the Island Tea program. It's nice to see you this morning, Jamster. Yes. So we are here, and it is a Friday. It is Friday, the 5th of May, Taurus season still, and we are hoping that everyone is having a wonderful Friday morning. Beautiful Friday morning. We know that it is TGIF for many persons. They're looking forward to the weekend and seeing what the weekend has to hold for them. Sometimes, if you work for yourself, sometimes you look at it and your weekend is just to portion more work. I know that there are some persons, who are out there and enjoying their weekend. Some persons perhaps are traveling. Some persons perhaps are taking it a little slow. And so however this weekend is for you, I'm hoping that you enjoy it. You get whatever you need to get done. We have some articles, really, and news circulating. How are you doing, Candy?
Good morning, I'm fine.
Yes. So I saw a news clip being circulated yesterday about the NRP situation. Did you have an opportunity to look at it?
No.
Okay, so it was basically with the Honorable Cleon Simmons Stapleton in relation to an interview that she had on the narrative, explaining the situation from the start to the end. We know that she would have been suspended by the NRP previously. We know that she did not give her support to the Honorable Janice Hodge for the leader of the opposition in the Nevis Island Assembly. She said that for her to give her support to the Honorable Janice Hodge, there was a condition, and that condition would be that she would have a say in who the senator would be. And of course, there was an impasse, there was a suspension, and recently we heard about the expulsion of Miss Simmons from the NRP. We understand as well that she would have made her position clear previously, stating that she is an independent candidate, independent member rather, of the Nevis Island Assembly. What a lot of persons have been focusing on as it relates to the interview that she had recently with the narrative was the fact that she, while being interviewed, said that if she could pause the interview, if she could stop, because at that point in time, she felt that the interview had become combative, using her words, and that she did not want to be seen in that light. And then the interview suddenly came to an end. So that is what is happening on that end as it relates to the NRP. So the NRP or the NIA in Nevis still is without an opposition leader. And of course, that seems to be the trend as it relates to the situation in Nevis. That seems to be the outcome. I mean, I'm sure we have callers who would be able to give their opinion on what has happened. And I mean, the political arena in St. Kitts and Nevis, or St. Kitts Nevis, has always been interesting. There's never a dull moment. And so something always arises that catches the attention of the people. Another thing that I want to highlight is the fact that the home of the Esken national hero is to be made into a museum. So the St. Kitts and Nevis government unveiled plans for transforming the residence of the Federation's first national hero into a museum, saying that the country must recognize the contributions of those who have served with distinction in the process of nation building. So the Prime Minister said, a grateful nation is a great nation. And in keeping with that principle, it is important that we do this. As a nation, we ensure that our people would have reached the state of independence and be able to establish a nation that would be respected in the world. We must never forget the many sacrifices that he would have made, and that's coming from the Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, as there was an unveiling ceremony. So, and that national hero is that, the museum would be, Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw. So we
Does
know.
it say where the museum is located? Because I think a lot of persons don't even know where his home was.
Yes, if you are aware, up by close by the where the Red Cross is, close by that the Techvac
Right
area.
across from Tech.
Yeah, so persons who aren't aware, and as you rightfully say, a lot of persons, I'm sure, before this attention was given to him and his residents, would not have realized that that is where he resided, and he is a former premier of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I'm just happy that they're finally doing it, because it was sad to see that the home was just sitting there and deteriorating. And I'm sure there are lots of artifacts in there. I saw when they first published it, I saw someone in the comment asking about a Rolls Royce. So I'm assuming that that would have been his state vehicle. So it would be nice for them to basically like recreate what it looked like in there when he actually occupied the spot. I think that's a pretty interesting idea. So I'm hyped to see what comes of it, what becomes of it.
Yes, and the article goes on to say further that it is about us as a people, citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Prime Minister said, adding that the project would be completed by the 16th of September 2023, National Heroes Day, and Sir Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw's 107th birthday.
Wow. How old was he when he died? I don't think I remember. I'm trying to remember his age.
I remember the year that he died. I think it was 1978.
Wow.
Yeah.
None of us were even born yet.
Yeah.
That's probably why we don't know.
Yeah, so 1978, if I'm correct, that was the year in which he passed. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting
I
indeed.
actually like that little tidbit, and I saw it floating around since I think it was maybe Tuesday, because I think they did the unveiling with his granddaughters on Monday just before they started the Labor Day parade. So,
Yeah.
what else in other news?
Well, we have, in other news, I know that some talk has been made as it relates to the East Coast company, the Trinidadian company that is scheduled, or that is expected to, oversee operations for the construction of 2,400 homes over the next,
I heard a whole bunch of commotion about it on another radio program yesterday, and I was like, oh Lord, here we go again.
Yeah.
I think most persons were just concerned that it was a Trinidadian company. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know what's happening. That it was a Trinidadian company that was being used. But for the most part, I think persons are just happy, or would be happy to have the. Be happy to have the houses built, because there's always a need for housing. And so I think it's a good sign that they're looking into that, and I guess as part of their mandate, that would have been something that they wanted to fulfill. But I think the issue that is arising is who's building the homes.
Yeah, and I think if you listen to Freedom, I think it was yesterday, Ambassador Nato was on Freedom, and he was basically giving an overview of what is to be expected. He indicated that the project is being financed by a Trinidadian financial institute. There is the East Coast that is basically the persons who, I guess, contracted to oversee the operations. And he spoke about model homes, at least 2 model homes being built to see before the others are built. I mean, I think that 600 homes, given the time, we are already, this is April, no, this is May. So we have a couple months, we have some months to go. This is the 5th month of the out of 12. And So perhaps the construction, I guess, should be started. I think based on the article that was seen, the construction should start sometime in June. So we're looking at a possible 600 homes by the end of the year.
Did
I
they
mean,
give any idea, though, is as to why that company was chosen or why that company is financing it?
well, based on the interview, I did not garner the main reason, why that company was chosen. I don't know if there are persons out there who would understand or may know why the company was chosen. I mean, at the end of the day, he indicated that it is an investment. My question is, persons putting in monies and stuff like that, of course, there would be a return of investment. So what is the return? And so that is a question for me. I mean, it is, I think, something that is ambitious. I would hope that, all goes well. There's indication that there would be local contractors employed. So let's hope that it's significant enough to create some revenue within and some employment, within our country. Again,
Agreed.
600 homes, that's a lot to build I think in the time, a short space of time. And again, for me personally, my thing is that, especially with this administration, is, the promises and, grand promises. And, we have heard where it was said that, the PAC would increase the amount from the 500 to the 1,500 in the manifesto.
There hasn't been any evidence that it was?
There's no evidence that it was. The gas prices in the manifesto said that it would have been dropped. To me, the gas prices still climb up and down.
That one I know for sure.
Yes. Just the other day, I was paying $15
yes.
per gallon. Another thing was the minimum wage, which has not changed. And so it is just my concern that, they don't just say things for saying its sake because it sounds good, but actually are being realistic that it can be achieved in the timeline given. But if it is, it would be, for the benefit, I hope, of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Fair enough. I wanted to touch on something that I saw. There was another earthquake recorded near St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I know that there was a volcano spitting lava in Guadeloupe.
And I want to apologize if I'm sounding a bit groggy, it's because I think I'm trying to get over a little cold. So I'm not.
To go to the beach, friend.
Perhaps, So I'm a little snuffy this morning. So I apologize for that. Go ahead.
So there was a second earthquake recorded in the Caribbean, this time near St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the magnitude of 3.7. It was reported north of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And for me, like when I heard that, I just started replaying all the scenes of when the volcano erupted. Was it last year? The year before? And I'm thinking, like, what are those persons on the ground that were traumatized by that? What are they going through? Because for me, I'm so far away from it, but I'm already replaying memories of the evacuation and persons, being covered in ash, their homes being buried in ash. And I'm just thinking, Lord, not another earthquake. But like 2 mornings before that, I saw that there was a volcano erupting. I'm trying to remember if it was Guadeloupe or Guatemala, but I know it was one of those G countries.
Yes.
And then there was an earthquake registered in Antigua earlier last month. So it's just been one thing after the other with Mother Nature. I mean, we're battling crazy heat here.
Yeah, the heat has been, as you say, crazy. It's been very hot over the couple of days.
I heard persons, advising each other, just hydrate. And that is something that I also needed to take advice on because it has been really hot and I am already known for not drinking enough water. So guys, hydrate.
I honestly think that is what has me here because I think on Tuesday I was feeling extremely hot. And
that was the day when I told you vitamin C.
I was feeling extremely hot and I am thinking, I don't think I drank enough water that day, because
and then you work out as well.
Yeah. So it's just this heat.
Yeah, the heat is unbearable. And imagine people think that climate change is a farce. Global warming doesn't exist. But the heat has been crazy. I know Sunday there was, well, from Friday to Sunday there was lots and lots of rain in New York in particular. There was almost a flood in some areas. So guys, if you're out there, just be careful, hydrate, pay attention to the weather. I think I was telling Cleon when he visited us to discuss the youth award, never leave your home in the U.S. before you check the weather, because the weather changes at the drop of a hat. So, and I learned that the hard way. So I think I was just like, you know what, the best advice I could give you is never leave home before you check the weather channel.
Yes.
But hopefully it cools down a little bit. I know we had some rain last night, so it's not that bad today. The morning is not that crazy, but...
You know Angela Bassett, right?
Yes, I saw that. Go ahead.
Yes. So Angela Bassett and Don Lewis appointed Antigua and Barbuda tourism ambassadors.
Listen, I saw that, and first, I'm happy, right? Because I know the two women, and I'm like, well, who are we gonna get? Like, we need to follow up on this. We need to jump on this. But none of the two of them are from Antigua. They're both U.S. citizens, but I think they visit the place so often, and I know there's like some kind of sailing week going on right now, so they're down there to help promote it. But I absolutely love Angela Bassett and Tina Turner, Waiting to Exhale, Wakanda, the works. I love her. And
she seems like she doesn't age.
I know. I just want to know what the secret is.
Yes.
And I think Dawn Lewis, is she a track star
She
or a movie
starred
star?
in Grey's Anatomy, A Different World, and many movies and sitcoms. And sitcoms,
yes. I'm trying to like pull like some of my memory back to the fore. I think she came in this movie called I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. I'm wondering if that was her.
So, Miss Bassett has shown her love for Antigua by frequently visiting and using her star power that has been earned by participation in scores of movies. So I'm taking it from a news article by WINNFM, and it says that the appointment is voluntary, does not involve any remuneration, and they have agreed to make appearances on behalf of Antigua and Barbuda. The movie stars are both currently in Antigua to participate in Sailing Week and in the entertainment events that form part of the week's long activities.
I was right. She came in, I'm going to get you, sucker, because it was bothering me, so I Googled it.
I'm going to get you, sucker.
Have you seen it?
I don't even know.
No? Like my favorite, Keenan Wayans came in it as well, but I think like my favorite part of that movie was there was a pimp in it, and he was wearing these glass shoes that had fishes like swimming in it while he walked. It's just a really stupid movie. But it's fun. You should check it out if you haven't seen it.
I definitely would try to check it out. But I think it's a smart move,
Exactly.
Because I'm thinking, usually you're waiting for a star to be born in your country so you could highlight that individual and the association that individual has with your country.
Right.
Like, Rihanna, Barbados. And Antigua and Barbuda is saying, hey, we're not waiting for anyone to be born and reach the star level of that magnitude. We've seen them out there, and we're going to bring them in to be our country ambassadors, tourism ambassadors.
Smart move indeed. I wonder who we can pull. Well, that was the only thought that was going through my head when I saw it. I was like, man, why wasn't there something we did? Wonder who we can use as our ambassador for free.
That's the next thing. There's
Free,
no
free.
remuneration. It's all voluntary.
Free.
Yeah, so imagine we have a call. Caller, you're live on Island T. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, good people.
Good morning.
I hope the earthquake don't turn to ashes on our eh?
Let's hope not.
Far away.
Because the place done hot.
Yes, it is.
And the ashes will make it a little hotter.
Definitely.
I think we're safe. We just need to pray for the ones that are closer to it.
Yeah.
Right. When next month, June, will make 45 years since Mr. Bradshaw died.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it would make 45 from 1978.
Right. And that is the amount of years that I have been calling in on radio talk shows, started in Antigua on ZDK.
Wow. You might
I
have a
remember that
record
fully
running
well.
there.
And if this year is his 107th birthday, and
Right.
he died in 1978. So if we take off 45 from 107, it's around 62. So he was about 62 when he
young.
died. Yeah, pretty
Somewhere
young.
around the region.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
since he passed away,
Yes.
his premises has been disrespected badly.
60.
For a man like Mr. Bradshaw,
Mm-hmm.
who loved his black history
Yes.
very much, and he loved a lot of artifacts. I think that building there should have been securely guarded.
From day one.
Right, from day one is right. But the gate was left open, and some foreign people, some clear-skinned people went in there to rent it, and they turned Mr. Bradshaw house in a prostitution house.
Oh my God.
Yes, and it was a shame. Many persons called in on the talk show, and we talk about it, and nothing was done to it. But they vacated the building, and so the carbon copy owners went in there and they took up what they want. They didn't buy them and put them in there, but they went in there to take them up. And it's a shame to see what Mr. Bradshaw Grave had come to. That man was a loving man for black people and for St. Kitts. He never used to make no joke with nobody.
That's really
You know,
sad.
anybody do any foolishness in his ministry, he tell you, hey, go so. And then he come in on the airways and letting everybody know who gone so and the reason why he sent them so, you know.
Okay.
And a lot of people to abuse him, tell him he old-fashioned and he must go. But I know if he was alive today, even if he was not in government, a lot of people will ever shake his hand and tell him, well, you have good vision of what's going to take place later in our future. But anyway, we all have to go someday,
True.
like where Mr. Bradshaw is.
Yeah.
And I hope those who come behind, they do not abuse what the seniors, elders have left behind. They should appreciate it very much and take care of it. Anyway, I don't know if you guys going to be making 45 years on radio, you know, but
Congratulations.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Waiting for you all to catch me. I'm going to wait, man. I ain't going to go, my age ain't going to go no further. I'm going to stay right there.
Awesome. You got to tell us how to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, have a good day.
You too. Have a good weekend.
Awesome. Yes.
You know, so I'm racking my brain as he's speaking. Don't we have any legislation to preserve what would be termed as like historical pieces, artifacts, landmarks? Because that should have been, like he rightly said, that house should have been secured from day one, just because of what it represented.
And then the question would be what buildings are determined, the criteria to be determined, these historic or,
Historical
artifacts, because there would have to be a definition and a criteria to be given.
Right. Because I know, like, there's the Alexander Hamilton Museum in Nevis and that type of stuff. So it, I wish that we had the foresight before to preserve that house and, made it into a museum, even before now, even if not a museum, just for preservation's sake, because it's part of history.
We have a caller. Caller, you're live on
Hello, good
Island T.
morning. We lost it.
We lost that caller.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
Miss Henry, how are you doing?
I am here giving God thanks while I am just watching the heat and everybody start to pray now.
Yes.
I mean, really, you're me in the morning and the sun is hot. Hot.
You remember
Yeah,
just a
so
couple months ago, the place was chilly?
I'm telling you, it's so cold, you know?
Yes.
Cold.
Those times were
So
wonderful
mine,
times.
I'm pleading with our people to start to pray now. Oh, wait, too late.
Right
Yes.
as well.
Now, let me get to Mr. Bradshaw's property.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that they were all willed to his lawful daughter,
Okay.
Isis.
Okay.
Okay then.
Because somebody in the comment is saying, and he willed it for the government and people of St. Kitts, so...
No, I didn't will them. I think he willed a piece of land he had over on the Southern Peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think
The
that one
one
was
with that
willed to his
potential bar.
grandchildren.
That one.
You
And,
see, even sitting here and listening to this discussion as to what was willed to who, it just shows that different people have different
Stories.
stories
Yeah.
as to and
I think he left
Also,
the
you
land
ready
on the
to
peninsula
forward?
with his
Yeah.
daughter,
you see
and
where
she
the, you see where
put it
the
to her children.
OAS offices?
yes.
That used to belong to the Governor Allen, so
Mm-hmm.
Milton Allen.
Yes.
And he willed it to the state.
I see.
The one opposite the UE
Right.
Yes.
Center.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw willed his property
His
to his.
property to his daughter.
Okay.
ISIS. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so she lived there and then, she died more or less suddenly.
Yes. Yes.
She died. And that left the gate open. Now, if he had willed it maybe to her and Etsu, who is the first daughter, they might have had a chance.
They might
So,
have
of
had a
course,
fight.
the gentleman who has the children by her, he was occupying it then, and he began to put up a fight, say the government cannot take the property because it is not. It belongs to the daughter and it belongs to the children.
So you know what this reminds me is a reminder that when we see certain things happen, we need to know the full information because sometimes persons make
The
assumptions.
children father is the one who said, "Boy, no, you all can come in and take the place."
Yes, persons make assumptions
I
not
think
knowing
the children
the full
are pretty
facts.
grown now because I heard in the news article actually just this morning that they were the ones who unveiled the plaque to
Yeah,
say
they
that
unveiled the plaque.
right.
But who owns the property?
That is the question. I know for a fact that that the piece of land over at the peninsula belonged to the grandchildren. It was being held in trust for
Not
them.
really,
It was being held in trust for them. So
But I think he willed it to the state. But there's all kind of story, Anyway.
Well, I
So
am
let's continue
unaware.
now. Now,
I
in
actually have
relation,
facts.
Yes.
so the vandalizing of the property started when his son-in-law occupied the building.
Okay.
Now, successive governments say they're going to make it into a museum, but it is private property.
Yeah.
It still is. You follow?
I get what
Now,
you're
in
saying.
2016, when he made 100 years old,
Yes.
they said they were going to start a Bradshaw Institute. There's a big launch. Not even a piece of paper come out of it.
Yes.
Lord.
So we're accustomed to having this put up board and so. Until they own the property, it's just another talk show.
Yeah.
Why not make the children an offer or give the children swap it for something?
Well, you see, often when it comes to these discussions, and we see the article and we see the plans, I realize that there's no further information. For example, we might know that the plans are for it to become, a museum, and that's the intention for the government. But as it relates to
Executing the plan.
executing the plan and the information behind that, we are unaware. The same
Because
way.
the children are big now, right?
Yes.
Can the children sell it?
Well, then we will first have to know to whom the property currently belongs and what is being negotiated. And those are things that if I don't know what's going on, I tend not
And
to
I'm
give
calling
a
upon
view.
them to keep that. You see, in St. we have like a lot of show. Put up a board. The same thing on Buckley's.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Buckley's uprising and they put up a board when people say they want a monument. Put up a piece of board. We got to get serious.
Well,
The state should make an offer. Because whoever it is, you go to the courthouse and say who the property belongs to.
well, I mean,
Now the children are older, right? The children should be able to make a decision for themselves.
well, they have said the government or through the prime minister, he has said that preparations are being made. So let's see what is going to happen. And he has already set a date for September the 16th. So let's just
I have heard that.
let's
When I say I believe, and I want the institute because I was
wait
looking
and
forward
see.
to the institute, and the things, and they should be able to reclaim the stuff.
yes.
There are people who would have seen them, his daughter, the one I love, Etsu.
Yes.
Do I say he used to go in the house, so he should see. You understand?
Yes.
So we make statements just to distract people.
Yeah.
I think Etsu is actually the director at the museum right now, the St.
Yeah, but
Christopher
she's not
Trust.
the owner of the property.
Right. Well,
She got her grandmother's house.
right.
She didn't get anything else.
Well, I mean, you can't tell people who to will things to, but what we can do now, the
But if you
persons that
got
are
foresight,
remaining.
if you are seen as the hero and the everything of the black people, that should cross your mind.
Maybe he
You know
got
what I mean?
sentimental
But
at his
then,
old
but then,
age.
when you look at the time period, you know, I don't. You're saying that there was a will. I am not aware whether there was a will or not.
That is why they can't touch the property.
Okay.
It
And
was
so,
a will to the daughter, and she has children.
so you're saying that you spoke about foresight. So what are you saying then? That it was a lack of foresight to have it will?
He was sick in bed for 2 years, you know.
Yeah.
He didn't drop down dead.
Okay.
He was sick in bed for 2 years, you know.
Yes.
So, and he knew what he had, artifacts, books, and even the children's father, he should have been held accountable since he occupied it. I don't know what you think about that.
Accountable by who, though? Because
the
it
state.
wasn't willed to the state, so the state doesn't have a say it's private property. So who's going to hold him accountable?
I don't know, because lawyers, like both of you, know,
how
we're
it
getting
works.
around everything.
So I mean, again,
That was the back door to the law.
at the time, if it was his private property, then he could will it to whomever he wants to will
And
it
treat it
to.
however he wants.
Yeah.
I know, but I pity he didn't think about it, you know.
Well,
Maybe expected the girl to die at old age too, you know.
well, we don't know what his thoughts were at the time when he did it. So
Yeah. So I want the government to let us know if they have acquired the property, because you can put up any board in front of anything.
Well,
Have
that's-
you legally acquired the property?
yeah.
Good question.
All right then.
Okay then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
for
much. We'll
calling.
take a short
Have
break.
a good one today.
Yes.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
So who you left the kids with tonight?
Nobody. They're big enough to take care of themselves.
Girl, you mad? Junior only 7 years old. And suppose something happened to the baby while you're out here?
My mother was leaving me home by myself since I'm 5. He can handle it. Nothing gonna happen.
This don't feel right. Call and check on them.
Look, I work hard all week. I deserve this break. Besides, they're good. Hello?
Leaving underage children at home by themselves is child neglect. Need support? See if another family member or a trusted neighbor can help. This message brought to you by UNICEF, UKAID, Crime Stoppers, and this station.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Switch for a better mortgage with Bond. Come and visit us today and let's discuss your future. The Bank of Nevis Limited is encouraging all customers to come to the bank that cares. Switch for an attractive low interest rate, 100% financing. Yes, you heard correct. Additionally, up to 30 years repayment available. Commitment fee waived. Legal fee waived. And any additional fees can be included within the loan. That's right. We are providing solutions at Bond Strong. Switching has never been this easy. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Special terms and conditions apply. Offer ends July 30th, 2023.
You can bank on it. You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stand on it.
You remind me of something.
Yeah. So we've had a very interesting discussion so far, and it is, yeah. So looking at what is happening in the news, could you, and we're looking at various topics here, you know, looking at, they're saying here that Jamaica establishes more than 2,000 permanent posts for doctors. So, the government of Jamaica has established over 2,000 permanent posts for doctors within the public health system. And it says that the Minister of Health, during his contribution to the 2023-2024 sectorial debate in the House of Representatives on Wednesday, said that this is being supported by the recent compensation review processes, as well as forward planning to restructure and expand the services both the primary and secondary levels. So they say that these are the numbers, permanent posts, as opposed to short-term contracts for 789 doctors currently in the system. New posts of 1,112 doctors to be filled over time, and 140 posts that were established to support the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is over 2,000 permanent posts to impact the service and the quality of the people of Jamaica. Yes.
Are you, was that like you wishing, hoping?
I mean, we have a caller. Caller, you're live on Island T.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Matt Mahan?
Yes.
Welcome.
May I comment on some of the topics you raised?
Yes, you may.
Right. First, that disastrous meltdown of Cleon Stapleton Simmons. It was not a good look.
It certainly was not.
Well, neither for her or politicians generally and our leaders, right? At the very least, the very basic, we expect our leaders to stand up to pressure. And if she couldn't do it in an interview, which in my opinion was not particularly hostile. I mean, the interviewer asked relevant questions, the appropriate
Yes,
questions.
I thought she was asking some very valid questions.
Yeah, they were pointed, but they were valid questions, right? And if she couldn't withstand that, how can she withstand the rigors of leadership? It was almost embarrassing. Not almost, it was embarrassing.
Do you guys think it's too soon for her to do the interview?
I don't know. It certainly didn't help her career in politics. With regards to the museum, of course, yes, museums are really important symbols for any country. One would have preferred, though, that it was funded by some kind of foundation.
Yes.
And yes, there can be some input from public funds, but ideally, a foundation would probably have been better, as is done is the habit of so many other countries, because many of our national figures are controversial, and not that there's anything wrong with having controversial people in museums. I mean, the Germans have a museum for Karl Marx, just as they do for their musical geniuses. Okay? So there's nothing wrong with that per se. But it's always better if it's by national acclaim, And but this, I think, is a good move. I hope that it would the issues that Sylvine mentioned would be ironed out, because it is an important point after all. Your government can't just go in and uplift someone's property using public funds without a valid reason. Okay?
Yeah, I think you're right with that foundation owning it part, though, because it's a third party. So, at least somebody would be able to oversee that, because what happens when the government changes and they, don't find the museum as, important?
Yeah. With regards to the housing issue, My only misgiving is the way it was rolled out. Apparently, people heard from it via the Trinidad Express first. Okay, not the scheme in itself, because that's a massive investment. We need investment. Okay, that's a massive inflow of funds to the country.
Yeah.
All right. And actually, Mr. Nato outlined some important aspects of the project. One, the fact that it was funds from overseas, so it's not going to be added to our national debt. And secondly, well, I don't know, I don't think any mention was made of government guaranteeing that the financing arrangement.
Yeah,
right? Hopefully that's not so.
I think, although he made mention of it being an investment from, overseas, being financed overseas, what I think he lacked to inform us is what is the government offering. I mean, this investment is coming in, persons are invested.
It sounds as if the government is offering land,
but
that's the input, which in itself, that's a big issue. I mean, 2,400 homes.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a lot of land.
I'm thinking that's a lot of land. So I'm thinking, yes, it is funded outside, but no one sets up shop and gives money away without something in return. And so,
well, it's an investment, and people are going to have to pay for the houses. They're not free.
Yeah,
so maybe that's built into that. Just like how if you go to a bank and borrow money to build a house,
precisely,
the bank makes some kind of profit.
Precisely. That's the assumption. But I don't think that in his presentation he clearly outlined. He did not clearly outline that, and he did not address those topics. In fact, I think Mr. Brown. Because I was listening to the show from Aruba. Well, I was going back and trying to listen, and I think Mr. Carl Brown was, even though he didn't put it as the question as best over, I think that is what he was trying to bring out when he asked the question about something about what is the government getting and stuff like that. What is the proportion? But I don't think that answer was stretched out enough. Because at the end of the day, we are still
need for more.
Yeah, we are still in the dark.
I would expect that at some point there's going to be some kind of press conference or something involving the government, the NHC, who seems to be going to be involved in the project as well.
Yeah, because if you look at it, Mr. McMahon, the NHC is a statutory body that oversees the development and the construction of homes. And you see that there's an overseas company coming in to do that. So what is the arrangement between NHC and them? What is the arrangement between government and them?
Those are questions that need to be asked.
What are the terms and conditions of the contract? We are unaware of the terms and conditions. So, I mean...
At this point.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean about the rollout. A project as big as this, it should have been carefully rolled out so that it reduces speculation and propaganda.
I think when projects like this of this magnitude, sensitive projects, because when anything comes as it relates to housing and land in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are sensitive about it. That's something that you can't take from us, and it's something that you must recognize. I think what the government ought to do is properly sensitize the people of St. Kitts and Nevis well in advance. It came, as you said. It was circulated. I found, it was posted in a newspaper or some article in Trinidad. It was then brought to the attention of persons here in St. Kitts and Nevis by social media. I saw it on St. Kitts and Nevis Times, but there was no, from my recollection, no first base coming from the government saying that, guys, we have done this contract. We are in talks with this company in Trinidad that this arrangement is going to be financed by a Trinidadian financial institute. These are what we're looking at. So it leaves the public to raise questions.
There are a number of questions that definitely have to be answered. One other thing that he raised, though, which might speak to what you were concerned about, the timeline to build 600 houses. He did say that they're going to be using a particular building technique, okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which would facilitate rapid construction, okay? And I think what was what he intimated was that models would be built to show local contractors how to familiarize the local contractors with that particular technique.
Yeah, and
then,
I listened to that, right, Mr. McMahon, and I'm thinking.
You're skeptical? You sound.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at the timeline again. So let's say he said that 2 models are going to be built, right? So
Right.
2 models are going to be built to show the local contractors how it's supposed to be done. Because I think when he made mention of the homes that were, I think, over by Lodge constituency number 7, the 15 homes, saying that there are issues with it now.
Right.
Because all were built at once. What came to my mind, how long a period is going to last between the building of these 2 homes
The
and
model ones.
and then the construction of the others? Because
they already put a timeline in it for themselves. They said next September. So is it a stretch? Is it?
And that's what I'm saying.
doable?
Because if you look at it, if he's criticizing the 15 homes that were built, saying that they were all built at once, and now you're seeing issues, is there going to be a timeline, a grace period when these 2 models are built, and to see if there are issues with these 2 models that we don't want to occur in the others? And what would be a realistic timeline to see issues in a home?
I think the company probably has models to show already. The thing is, are these models going to be acceptable to our people here who are very discerning when it comes to things like their homes? If something is wrong, they're going to point that out.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not going to accept anything. So if they have a track record elsewhere of building these models, then by now I would have thought that these would have been available for viewing, not the actual models, but the schematics and so on
Blueprints or
would have
something.
been available
But
for
think,
viewing.
Yeah, and I think too what the government dropped the ball in doing is proper sensitization. Again, it feels as though I listened to the interview in that I got certain concerns. I saw what he's saying. He's saying that there's need for homes, and we understand there's need for homes. There's need for persons. He spoke about NHC having 3,800 plus applications, and he's saying that 2,400 homes are to be built. And so it still won't satisfy the 3,800 plus, but it would, if 2,400 homes are built, satisfy a majority of that.
The other aspect to this, though, is that, as we said, it's going to take a lot of land.
Yes.
And shouldn't we be concentrating on housing solutions as opposed to houses?
And
because there is a market out there, I think, for, and somebody raised it yesterday too, for studio apartments, 1-bedroom apartments.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody don't have to have a 2- and 3-bedroom house at the outset.
And
okay.
Again,
and so using apartments, multi-story apartments, that would definitely save some land. They can also do some gentrification.
Gentrification, yes.
Right. That's badly needed in areas, especially the area of let's say McKnight, the Irish Town Bay Road,
Agreed. I was going to ask you where you were going to suggest, but those are the exact places I had in mind.
Yeah, and
yes,
I think
that's obviously needed, and
so,
there are lots of empty lots around until the owners decide what to do with them. I think the government can build on them, and the ownership wouldn't change, but some arrangement be made so that you get rid of these dilapidated housing lots all around the place. And I'm thinking Bastille, not so much other areas, the rural areas, but certainly in Bastille. Get rid of the density, the kind of high density populations in there, and high density housing.
And I think what they need to do too,
to fight things like crime and even for emergency services, fire and ambulance and those things. It's a pain in the neck.
Mr.
You know, so there
McMahon,
should be some long-term, should have been a long-term vision in terms of not just building all these homes. It's going to take up a lot of land space, but also using existing land space in the best way possible.
but again, it leaves the question open. We don't know, for me at least. Again, we're not inside NHC, we're not a part, we haven't seen the contract, we haven't seen the proposals. So we are asking from an outside perspective and looking at the land allocations, 600 homes, I don't think that they have, in that interview, it never said where these 600 homes would be broken up into.
Well, most
which
likely
areas.
they spread, though. You know how this
Yeah,
works.
most likely it would be
most likely
spread.
spread throughout constituencies.
Yeah,
but it's still a lot, taking up a lot of land.
Yeah, but and again, 600 homes, that's within, by the end of the year, that's quite ambitious. That's quite ambitious.
And from past experience, it has not always been good in that the planning and execution has not of these huge projects have not always been good. There's always some kind of cost overruns or, the work's not done right, the pier needs fixing.
Yeah.
Always, and these fixes cost money. So I hope that a lot of thought is going into this and making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's crossed, so that we don't end up in a lot of time and cost overrun.
I am just hoping that they put in place all the checks and balances, because it's one thing.
At least we have movement on things like the integrity in public life and freedom of information stuff. Okay, so hopefully the questions that we ask now, there will be answers forthcoming from a press that is not afraid to investigate and ask the questions, just like what Cleon was subjected to.
But Mr.
So we probably, hopefully, we'll end up much wiser after all of this.
But look at it this way, and again, there seems to be a trend where there is talk about certain things which sound really good. It sounds really good to say. The decrease in gas prices on the 6 months, the increase in the PAP allocation, the monies, the increase in the minimum wage. And then afterwards, when they get in there, they say, well, we weren't in there. We didn't know about the circumstances and X, Y, and Z. What I am fearful of, my concern or my issue is that we just don't say things or we give grand plans just for the sake of saying it. And then afterwards, at the end of the day, we have to retract and say, well, we didn't consider this, we didn't consider that. We didn't
I mean, that happens. It's unfortunate when it happens. In this particular case, $1.5 plus billion, whether TT dollars or EC dollars, or whichever currency, is not something to sneeze at.
It's not.
And I hope that it is really spread throughout the economy in a really big way, because that really could be transformational. I mean, that's fulfilling not only a need for housing, but a need for jobs, a big boost to the economy. And so let's hope that, yes, I understand what you're saying. When you have these kinds of things, there's always something happens at the last minute. One of the things that we've noticed about projects around here, yes, there's a big announcement, and as you said, someone said, put up billboards and so on. I well remember, for instance, the Prime Minister and other officials knee-deep in water or ankle-deep in water on the beach announcing the 6 senses. Next thing you know, it's gone. So projects can fall through, and we wonder, or we hope, that this one would definitely materialize, and materialize in the way that it is planned. Because, again, as we see around here, there are so many unfinished projects that become eyesores, and we're none the better for it. So let's hope this one goes right. It sounds really exciting.
Let's hope
that it goes right.
Because it would only benefit the people of St. Kitts and Nevis if it goes as
right.
it ought.
You realize, of course, because that's the other aspect, that people are going to be paying for these houses.
Yeah. And
Right?
that's another thing that I was thinking. How much is going to be the payment now? You understand?
Right. All these things are going to be
So to me,
important.
the interview that Ambassador Natta had on Freedom yesterday, it raised more questions in my mind than answers.
Well, he probably couldn't answer all and in all fairness, it was a short time.
Yes.
And he himself probably don't have access to all the information either. But I expect that's why I say, I expect the NHC, the investors, the Minister of Housing would at some point come out with a thorough, in-depth discussion about the project.
Agreed.
The project.
There certainly needs to be one.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that we'll have more information forthcoming, one way or the other.
But for example,
Like I said,
let me
if
just.
it's not forthcoming,
Yes.
by the authorities, then we expect the journalists to do their job.
For example, we know that music festival is next month. We're in May, and there were talks about the 420 friendly music festival. We're 1 month away, and we still there has been discussions about the legislation, we are 1 month away.
We can only assume that they're working on it quietly, right? And that there would be at some point there would be some announcement to clarify exactly what that means, right? Just like, and because after all, right? I mean, don't expect when government is working that it will come out with all the details straight out the door. There are things that would have to be fine-tuned and discussions that have to be had to make changes, improvements, whatever. Okay.
And I understand that, Mr. McMahon. But at the same time, I don't expect. What happens, or the impression that is created is that you say something now that sounds good, and then now you're saying, boy, I said something that sounds good, that's what the people want to hear. Let me now try to see how I can make this happen. That is the impression.
You think so?
Sometimes.
I mean,
in all honesty,
something like this, for instance,
in all honesty,
just appear in a newspaper in Trinidad with actual figures.
Well,
and numbers.
I'm not talking about.
So
I'm not
working behind the
Let me
scenes,
say, I'm not talking specific to this construction of homes, just specific to this alone. I'm talking generally from what I've seen so far. Like, for example, when you talk about the gas prices going down to under 14 in 6 months, when you talk about the increase in minimum wage after the first 6 months, when you talk about the increase in the PAP allocation money after the first 6 months. So it sounds good.
Yeah.
People want to hear those things. But then it's afterwards, it's thinking, boy, can we really do this? How are we going to do this now? Let's now start to plan. Where it should be, we have already done the research. We already know what needs to be done to achieve what we need to do. And so now we could have done it.
I see what you mean.
So you're thinking that
at
even though
least
they
in the
made this
final analysis,
statement,
they're going to be held accountable for those kinds of things that they say.
You can't just say things.
Okay, so honestly speaking, I don't think that they're that crazy to come out and make these big announcements without any thought or plans put to it, right? And like you just alluded to, Mr. McMahon, I am pretty sure that they're working quietly behind the scenes, because a deal of this magnitude would not have happened overnight.
And again, I'm not saying this wouldn't happen overnight. We have not seen the contract. We are not aware of the term and conditions. So we don't know. We are assuming that there's something that has been put in place. The information was not first given by the government. It was given by what appeared to be article somewhere else that came to our attention.
That was indeed unfortunate.
You understand?
Right? But I'm pretty sure that they wanted to release it in their own way. Maybe they wanted to do it at a press conference, because right now we know that the Prime Minister is off island.
But there was no
So,
mention of it.
when?
Even to give us in my I just talking a little wet
You mean
short,
like in
a
the-
little
There
sample.
There were mentions made of it. We didn't know this kind of detail as yet. But there was mention. But I would have thought, though, that I'm sure the government would have preferred if they had made the announcement, since it's concerning the project here in St. Kitts, rather than in Trinidad. You know, I don't know what purpose was served, because it must have come, I think, from the investors. How did it help them to go get ahead of the government in announcing this?
Again, let me
Right.
make things
I
clear.
really
Again, let me
hope
make
that
things
things
clear,
will be
Mr.
financed and so
McMahon,
on.
that
Is in fact
that I do think housing is important. I do think a project of this magnitude, if all goes well, and based on what has been said to us, that local contractors will be employed, persons here would get business.
Right.
If all goes well, that would benefit us. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
I'm just hoping that, you know, that everything was put in place that ought to have been in place.
Well, the announcement has been made.
Yes.
People are expecting, there are high expectations now.
Yes.
You know, that's a long waiting list.
The expectations
for
are
people.
high now. They have set
So
the
if-
standard high. They have made a very ambitious
Yes.
move.
So,
So
well, you called it another revolution, a second housing revolution.
Yes.
So, a lot of
so a lot
folks
of pressure is now
are gonna be
placed on
put-
them to ensure
Yes,
that it is
yes.
done.
Yes.
Well, follow through is always the thing.
And
huh?
done right.
Yes, because when for those who give, you know, when the expectation is high, if you don't meet that expectations after you have given the assurance that you're going to do all of these things, then the disappointment would be even greater.
Exactly. I mean, somebody would be held accountable.
Yes.
You couldn't bet your life on that. So
And that's why
expect
I
it
am
to-
saying
I mean, they've made it a point
Right.
of saying that it's going to be a priority.
Yes.
And so I expect, and they've actually put timelines on it, unlike in a lot of other cases. There are timelines on this for the delivery, so they can be held to these things.
But Mr.
You know,
McMahon, exactly to that point, that is why I am saying that I would like to think that there was a little bit more foresight than we're given credit for, because why put all of these things in place? Why put timelines on yourself if you're not sure, if you're not certain, if you're not absolutely, positively sure that you can fit this timeline?
Governments do that all the time. One of the things
Okay.
that
Mr. McMahon, we have other callers.
Yeah.
We're going to, you could always call back, okay? Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
I think we lost the call. We're not hearing anything.
Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost that caller.
Right. So
I hate when that happens, you know,
yeah.
when you have a caller and then, okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning again. It's me.
Yes. Hey, what's up?
Miss Henry.
Yeah, I was the one proposing that they should build multi-story thing. You're talking about 2,400 on a small island like that.
Yeah.
Everybody want the yard and the garden, as the man was saying. Number one, the land is not ours. The bank or the company owns the land. The government will first have to purchase the land. No mention is made about that, you know.
I said
Are you aware of it?
a lot of
Another
things,
question mark.
are not being said.
Yeah, because the government had to buy the land over in the country to put on those houses and to put on the prisoners. So.
A lot of things aren't being said. We don't know.
Yeah, but sometimes
a lot
people
of
who know must
details.
say.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I said the interview that the ambassador did.
Yeah,
to
because
me-
they will have, because his response to it was a lot of land all over the place.
Yeah, and
A
those
lot
are
of land. What do you think they're underbush? They're underbush and grass because the land is not ours.
and a lot of
Until
times.
the land is paid for. And how much acres of land you plan to use? We're trying to promote agriculture. We are trying to promote agriculture. So agriculture needs land. So
Again,
therefore, to me, it is better to build these multi-story buildings.
again,
But then again, more questions and answers.
again, and this is what I keep saying. There are more questions than answers. So
Yeah, but as citizens, we make suggestions, eh? As you said, not criticism, it's suggestions, because if you know the situation, you must address it in that light.
Yes.
If you making decision and you haven't thought about it, how many acres of land you plan to redeem?
And this is it too. I don't think, for example, when he made the presentation, it seems as though, of course, he didn't have all the information in front of him. I think that when you're making a presentation, don't just come and make a presentation and because it sounds good.
Maybe his hand was forced because the Trinidadian company put out the article. So
And the next thing again, let me talk the next thing about the rapid.
Maybe.
The rapid construction will not benefit the construction workers.
How
You
so?
build all that, so the employed, and in the next 3-4 months, they're unemployed again. If they were to be like NHC, the individual contractors will be responsible for building. What they're offering now are slabs, right? They are prefab houses. That's what they are. He said that they could stand up to 18 hurricane. I don't know where
So
we get
they
to
are
18.
prefab houses, okay. But
Eh?
I don't think the construction workers, I don't see it in that light that you
But
just
think about
put
it again.
Because
The only thing they're going to be able to do, are allowed to do, maybe run the pipes, the electricity, and plaster.
But it's 2,400 houses, 600 first, right? So that means 4 different phases in order to get the project complete, especially if they're going to do it in 600 phases. So you still think that they're going to be out of work?
They're going to be workers, not contractors.
Well, like
Now look at
everyone else
listen.
is
You know what I'm
assuming.
talking about? When you're a contractor, you expect to make a profit on the work. They're going to be paid wages. Think about it.
I personally would like to see or hear more information on the whole project.
I know, but you could think too, eh?
And
I
I'm
know you're
thinking,
intelligent.
I don't want
You
to
could think.
assume though, because I'm hoping that they at least had the foresight to, cover a lot of the bases that we are bringing to light right now.
Yeah, because he said when they asked about the contractors. And another thing again, is the person going to borrow the money in Trinidad to invest? Because Trinidad has played us foul so many times. With the Carrie Festa House, they charge us 12%. Down at La Valley, they have the money again. You see what I mean? So they keep going to these high-interest places. We are getting all of this CBI money. Why couldn't they have allocated a certain amount to NHC, lend it to NHC,
Boy,
to do the
CBI money
construction?
being used for so many things. I mean, it can only stretch that far.
You haven't thought about that?
No, I didn't.
You
actually
really need
think about
hundreds of
using
millions
CBI
and
money.
story. Set aside, say, look, this 100 million here is to, because we have a development fund, is to build the houses. And the truth is, it is another Chinese that is doing it.
Yeah, I did see that in the article. I did
It's a
see
Chinese.
a Chinese name.
So when you heavily condemn, oh, they're going to build the prison and they're going to build the house and we're not going to allow it, and then you do it behind the back. Our people must learn. If you don't know how the story goes, don't promise. Do not criticize what you have to go and swallow. Because the truth is, next thing you know, we can't get workers, so they're bringing a whole heap. It's going on right down in the country. While our people balling, they can't get work. Companies are allowed to bring in foreign workers, particularly Chinese, under the impression, and they think that they save costs. But while you're saving costs, the government have to open social safety nets, and it creates more distortion in the economy. So we really got to think to this. I wish the country well, eh? But I understand some of the economics and the statistics and so. And I ask the question, and they must start to think about it. Do not go around make it. They say, we saying we ain't want nobody get a house. Build multi-storied houses.
I would
Otherwise,
just generally like to see
what you
more
can build
information
hotels
on
are
this.
now, when you done spread up them all over the house, these small houses with everybody have their land, and you want to build hotels, you want to have other industries, you want to increase agriculture. Where you going to find the land? I have my good friend, Eli Truth. Eli, the mountains are not available. We hear about what happened in Haiti. When you have heavy deforestation, you get less rain. It is the mountains that attract the rain, you know. It's not Jamaica where they build them and everybody got a mountain. So that kind of idea that, we got a lot of land, a lot of the mountains and so should not be touched. This is my opinion, eh? We talk a lot about climate change. This morning we wake up, the place hot as ever. When you're going to start to clear the mountains, to put up houses, you worsen your own condition. All right, then, that is my input.
Thank you so much, Miss Henry. Clearing the mountains.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects or sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Strapped for cash? Get Instacash. Payday late? Get Instacash. Have items new or used you don't need? Get cash for them at Instacash. We buy and sell quality new and used tools, electronics, jewelry, household items, and more. If you're strapped for cash, think Instacash. Sell an item for cash or buy an item. Ask about the convenient Instacash layaway plans and buyback options. Instacash is same-day cash, no credit checks, and guaranteed privacy. Get cash for your goods. Visit Instacash across from Caribbean Lotto in the Hoswoods Complex or call 465-0222 and 669-8390.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning, folks.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Very interesting. Very interesting topics.
Yes.
And first of all, I must say that I know enough to know that I don't know enough. And there have been lots of speculation and things that are not known. And
yes.
you can depend on Matt Mahan to act the part of the reporters to dig up some information. He never offend anybody, and I'm not saying offensively to him. He never offend anybody, but he always stick to the topic, but bring out most of the evidence and the facts that are behind the words that have not been said. Having said that, I will go back to Robert Bratcher's property. It appears to me like something like that should not have been happened the way that he did, but it did. And it appears to me that things in this country depends on who party is in office. And rather than we thinking country above self, we think about party and people and personality before the whole country at large. I have visited Canada, a few museums, and I have also visited the United States. I have also visited in England, and I have visited some museums. And I say all of that to say this.
Yes.
I have also visited our sugar factory where its last location have been. You could call it the SSNC. And I'm telling you, I feel like very empty, dull, and it makes me sad to see all those equipment, locomotives, and some old spare parts and all of that just sit in the open element
I
and
agree.
deteriorating. Nobody Nobody take interest in the stuff that belongs to the country.
I agree. I know there was one woman that worked at the museum that actually was pushing for
What in
that.
the world is wrong with us?
Mm-hmm.
And when I notice, I look around again, and every time I look, I see a vehicle marked. Well, what is our G? Government? Our vehicles marked G? People have them for the personal use. And then you're telling me tomorrow morning they're going to introduce more tax? You have to plug the leaks before you start looking for more input, because you'll be putting more water into a reservoir that have leaks. And so I go back to the same thing. We getting information and think it's outside before we get it inside. That should not happen. Those things should not happen. I sure feel bad about it. And to me, if it was me sitting in the chair and that happened to me, I probably would have walked away from the project. Because that, to me, that is an insult and embarrassment, not only to the government, but to the people of this country. No matter how good you bring it. And like Sylvie bringing the last point, which said that the Chinese are also involved in building these houses, because I read a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't know enough of this matter. So for me to discuss it, it will only be pure speculation. And we'll be running around in a circle and speculation for the things that we don't know.
Exactly.
So therefore, I say all of that to say this again. We have to do better than what we are doing. We have to treat things for the country and the whole, not our personally, but we must look at them and deal with them in the proper way. I think I have said enough. I'm not going to stay all day.
Thank you so much for your call.
Thank you for your contribution, caller.
You know, he's absolutely right, because I feel like we don't take care of things here. And those are some of the ways in which places in the US, for instance, and even Europe, that's how museums are created. You know, you keep things that are considered artifacts and landmarks and useful and historical, and you take care of them.
We have a caller.
Hello, good
You're
morning.
live.
Hello.
Caller.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
One thing was there, when your callers are on, they don't like to come the callers on the song.
I'm sorry.
You know?
I hear you.
When callers are on, it's like they don't like to come off. They must always understand that people are listening and would like to get on as well. And so people are frustrated all the time when I'm listening to WINNFM, that people just go on with ands and buts and just keep talking. Anyway, here's my point on the subject that you all were talking about earlier with regards to the housing. I don't know much about it, except that yesterday on my walk, someone shouted me, "Carla," and they stopped in their vehicle, interrupted my walk, and told me, what do I think about these houses that are coming up? And I said, well, I'm clueless. And they said, well, this Trinidad company is coming in to build these houses. I said, okay, well, and I just like mum, because I don't really know much. So then I gone down to the beach, as you know, that's where I spend a lot of time. And a contractor came along. And so I said to him, I heard that the Trinidadians are coming to build houses here. That someone just stopped me on the road and told me that. He said, all people like to blow things out of proportion. He said, Carla, let me tell you something. Some years ago, a Trinidad company did a project here, a housing project, and that was the best managed housing development ever. And he told me of the two housing developments. He said local contractors were given the work. So while it is that the Trinidad company manages the project, the local contractors got the work. And if a contractor got the work, they had 5 houses to build. They were given the material. They were inspected. So when you finish the digging, when you finish the foundation, when you finish, you know, they're monitoring it. And he said that was the best project. So he's saying, so I'm going by what the contractor says, that this is something that many people are just blowing out of proportion, in that they hear Trinidad company, they hear overseas company. These people they have the tools, and basically they know how to finish a project. manage the project properly. And that's my contribution to your talk this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling and giving your
So you
contribution.
see, Ms. Henry was of the opinion that the contractors weren't going to be operating as contractors. They were just going to be laborers and being able to put in plumbing and stuff like that. But somebody else is saying they're going to be contractors. Let's see how this goes. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, great people.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
And good morning, Carlo. Well, I'm glad that you called in, Carlo, because that contractor who told you on the beach that project that the Trinidadians them built and was the best thing housing project, I think that contractor is untruth. Because I was living right in that area there. And those same houses that they were given to build is down by Camps Estate, below the main road. And those houses had in no steel. Okay? And the Kitishan contractors would have built those houses with steel. And the yard where they were storing the materials to build the house. They fence up that property there with blocks. And the blocks was up high, almost 20 feet up in the air, around the property to fence it. And when Hurricane George come to St. Kitts, all the blocks and lay down on the ground like 10 people drunk. There was no steel, absolutely, in that storage place there. And I know for sure because I was living in that area, and I examined the houses there when the government stopped them. Because the examiner from CHA, when they went down to examine the house, they realized that the house was what you call, yes.
So none of the houses fell apart because they were stopped and they had to put in steel?
Yeah, what happened, when they find out, when they went to check, and they realized none of the houses them had in steel, they had to stop them.
Okay.
They checked them and no steel was in them. Because they hurry up the house fast and they want to say, well, they come and they do a quick, fast, good job. Yes. Things that are done hurriedly, they are not done properly. Because to build a cabinet, you can't just go in and cut a board and nail up and knock up so. No, it has to be done properly. You have to cut and precisely and make sure everything fit tight. And then you have to put on your sander and then you router and shape what you would them. So here's make waste, and waste not gonna taste because there is no base, and that is what happened on Camps project. So Carlo, I'm glad that you said that. I'm so glad. And when you see these people coming here and they want to say they're gonna build 600 houses in such and such a time, those houses are not gonna be strong like what our local contractors have built. I know for sure. I'm telling you that. Our local contractors, them yes, they may take a longer time to do their work. But when the work done, it is firm and properly built. That's all I got to say for now again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution.
For your contribution.
Wow. So you see, this is precisely why I was saying I am going to wait, and I am anxiously awaiting the government to release something because everybody has a different side of the story. This reminds me of the game Rumor or Telephone. Everybody heard something different. Everybody has a different piece, and it's all over the place. So I will wait for them to issue something because at least then we can compare what they're issuing to what Trinidad issued and then make some sense of it. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you guys. How you guys doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, we can't hear you.
Good morning. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. This is a real great topic of discussion this morning, continuing from that interview that Ambassador did on Freedom yesterday. While I was listening to that interview yesterday, I was wondering if it was myself, man. The interview was like a rush job.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't satisfactory a lot. It wasn't satisfactory at all. And, these people who was in power and in control, they got to bring the information to the public. They go to the parliament and they pass these laws about integrity and all these intangible bills. Now this is a perfect time for them to clean up their act. Whether that interview yesterday was a rush job in response to that article in that Trinidad media, I don't know, but it seems like it. But one thing I heard the guy said also is that the local contractors, they got some information on the street that they feel like they're going to be left out of this project. And that's the bottom line. So then, therefore, they want to always keep us speculating.
Mm-hmm.
There got to be more forthcoming with the information.
Agreed.
It is not enough transparency. They need to follow up on that interview and make some type of change and come to the public now and disclose the information so the public can feel more comfortable, because it's already starting to spin off into a political thing. One person have an opinion going this way and another person got an opinion going that way. Look at what this guy Culture just rebutted this lady just now and said. The lady come with her perspective, but then Culture came with a testimonial because he was living in the area. So who are you going to start believing and which side you're going to be on? This don't need to be any side. This don't need to be any side story. The government and the people who are responsible for this project, they need to just be transparent and bring the information to the public. Otherwise, the media houses is going to have to go and do some homework.
Yes.
And dig
Agreed.
up this information
So,
and bring it to the public.
We have another caller. We thank you
so
for your
much.
contribution. Go ahead, caller. Caller.
Greetings,
Yes.
Island T.
Good morning.
Everyone is good?
You be brief. We don't have much time left before we have to go on to our next segment. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
You hear me?
Yes.
We are.
Okay. All right. We're here. So okay. Let me step on the song we hear a while ago about the wasting, the very terrible. It's terrible. And the naked shoot that, and it's terrible. We look at how Mr. Bratcher place had left to being vandalized. We look at the sugar factory, as the brethren say. I mean, how we are flexed? How we not say living, because this is not living, This kind of flexing is not living, Living is different. This is like, man, this is terrible. And after allowing a place like that with a man with such levels of mentality to be vandalized and we know a type of museum. Look at the MIS Hall, such a place where Marcus Messiah Garvey come address us and them place there. I mean, look at how we are flex. Yeah. And then we want to play catch up. We need to watch what we are doing, man. It's terrible. What we family say about the land that belongs to we. What we say, we say.
Hindsight
and when
instead
we
of
talk
foresight.
about people going out to the hills, people have to plant, People can't just cut down, and every home for our garden. Every home for our garden.
So we'll have to wrap up because we have to go into our next segment with the fire services.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you so much, callers. We'll take a short break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta. Drink the real Fruta. Your favorite Fruta. The natural taste is Fruta. Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Magnum new labor charge up, and it means that the vibes look just like you.
A your name a call up. Can't you see that the hot girl just passed through?
Selector just all up, can't you see that the new look just make news?
I saw step forward. No, what you gonna do? Magnum tonic wine, brand new look.
Damn good wine.
Must be 18 or older to drink. Drink responsibly. Magnum.
It's 9:33. We've got Fireproof coming up next. As soon as the preening and the peacocking ends.
So, unfortunately, Azard had to leave. He had to rush to court. So, I will be wrapping up the segment. And I am joined by two of our favorite regulars. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you.
I
Good
see
morning,
you brought
everyone.
company today.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. I got him
Hi,
away
Fire
from his
Chief. How are you?
busy schedule.
I'm good.
It's been a while.
Indeed.
Thank you for dragging him in, Timothy.
Yeah, got him away from
Hopefully
his
it wasn't
busy
kicking and
schedule.
screaming.
No,
He didn't drag me.
no.
I came peacefully.
Okay, then. So I know you guys have been busy. I have not been able to, I wasn't able to, I don't know if it's still going on. I saw you guys in the square with a tent up and a bunch of persons around. So tell us what's been happening. What have you guys been up to?
So this week we have, we started our week of activities on Sunday last. And so annually we have our week of activities around May 4th, which is International Firefighters Day. So for that week, the Sunday prior to the 4th, whenever the 4th falls, it would be that week where we would have a series of events. Sunday we went to church on both islands, St. Kitts and Nevis.
Good job.
Yes, we have to service church. Yes. Monday, that was our relaxing day. It being a public holiday, we took advantage of that, knowing the amount of work we had coming up. So we used that to rest. Well, some of us. I know I did. So Monday, we relaxed. Tuesday, that was our community day, where we went out into the community and we visited various homes and donated food hampers and different packages to persons in need, persons with varying, how should I put it?
Disabilities, setbacks.
Differently abled.
Disabled persons and those type of things. On the Tuesday as well, we went over to Nevis for a friendly game of cricket. And so we always try to incorporate both islands. So we have activities on both islands.
Was it St. Kitts versus Nevis?
No. Last year it was, but we chose not to do that this year. It is said that Nevis is very good when it comes to cricket.
At least you know that.
We decided to have teams where you have Nevis and St. Kitts person on the same team.
So mixed teams.
Yes, so we wouldn't be embarrassed. So. And so we had that happening on Tuesday. On Wednesday, that was the open day. That's where you saw all of the display of the different equipment and uniforms and what have you that we use in our daily duties. And so that was on Wednesday. That started around 10 and we ran up until about 4 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, and on Thursday, yesterday, that was our annual Fire Chiefs run, where we run through the streets of Bastille. So we actually ran through Bastille. We did a lap around 4th Street and Church Street, and then we headed back to the fire station.
You already know what I'm going to ask, right? But carry on.
So we had that run, which was quite interesting. I'm still feeling some of the after effects.
Who won the race? Who won the race?
No, it wasn't
It
a
wasn't
race.
a
It
race.
wasn't a race.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a race.
It was more of a jog,
It was
just to
a
show
jog.
Who came in
awareness.
first from the jog?
We don't know. We weren't
Oh
paying
my
attention.
goodness.
The younger guys, what the
Yeah,
younger
when-
officers do when we get back onto Pan Road, they start to sprint back to the station, and that's their fun time. The older guys like myself and Mr. Martin, we choose to hang tight and come back with the whole parade, the banners and so forth.
I'm gonna ask somebody else.
And in the evening, last night, we had our social evening, where the officers came back to the station for a little, relaxation. We had some drinks, soft drinks, and some food, and played some games, some dominoes, Ludo, and we just relaxed for the evening. And
Nice.
that was relaxing as well. Now today, that's one of the main events where we have our drill competition, fire drill competition.
I didn't miss it. Yes.
Yeah,
no, you haven't missed
that is scheduled to be held starting at 1 p.m. today in the vicinity of Ram Supermarket and Courts. And so the guys, the planning committee, they're presently putting things together so that we can have an early start, hopefully. And so this competition, it would involve various drills. And so we have 4 teams who would be competing for best at drills. And so we have what we call 5-man drill. That's a 5-man team performing drills. We have a 1-man drill, a 1-man doing what the 5 men would have been doing. And we have an endurance drill with various drills testing your endurance.
Wow.
And we have both male and female doing that 1-man drill. And you also have a fire truck pull. This year will be the second time we had that, where we have 6 officers, 5 male, 1 female, rope attached to the fire truck, and we have to pull the fire truck.
That truck looks really heavy.
It is.
How much does it
And,
weigh when it's properly equipped and you guys put water in it?
Honestly, we haven't really tested the full weight.
Good grief.
So that truck is about maybe between 15 to 20 tons probably. But it's on wheels. Once it starts to roll, that's it. It gets easier.
Please make sure that you take care of our fireproof officer, because we will need him next week Friday.
Well, I don't think he's going to put himself through that. So you will have him for next week, hopefully.
Very good.
Hopefully. And so with that particular drill, the winner is the person who pulls the truck the furthest distance in the shortest time. And they will be deemed the winner of the fire truck pull. And that's today. So to complete the week, Saturday we have our sports day at the Newtown playing field, hopefully. And again, we also invite the public to come out and have some fun with us. We are a community-oriented entity, so we always encourage the community to come and share with us. And on Sunday, the grand finale, we have our award ceremony. We have been planning the ceremony for quite some time. And it's a ceremony where we award our officers for their long service, for dedication, going the extra mile, and what have you. So those are just some of the awards that would be presented at the award ceremony, and that would bring our week of activities to a close.
Okay then.
Yep.
So I'm gonna backtrack, because I know Timothy, he did tell us about, Officer Martin did tell us about the week of activities. So when I passed by the square, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, he did tell us that this was going to be happening. But we were wondering if you guys had new recruits sign up, like persons interested in joining the force. Were they able to sign up on that day? What was the turnout like?
Well,
Go ahead.
Okay. We had
farms available for the general public. All those who are interested in signing up to signing up to be a firefighter. We had these applications readily available, so we gave quite a few to the general public. One person came and asked for 5.
Wow.
So they had distributions, of the farms as well from their end.
5.
Yeah, 5. So, and persons come for the usual 1 here, there. Yeah, so, and we had a good turnout from the general public. We are looking for the indulgement of the public every year to come out and see what we do as an organization. You have the opportunity to actually look at our gears. We had one individual was able to put on our bunker gear to see what it felt like to be in one of those suits. They were able to put on the BA set, the breathing apparatus. So,
what were the reactions like, though? Because I think people underestimate the stuff that you guys do and the weight that you have to carry around when you're actually going out on a job.
You could see the expression on his face, the amazement, the wow, having the officer show him exactly how to put it on and strap up properly. The expression on his face was priceless.
Now, did you guys have the fire truck and kids were able to go on the fire truck, or?
Well, the fire truck was available. Persons would have gone. I remember seeing one lady in particular. She went and she was able to actually see what was going on with the truck. So the trucks, we normally have the truck parked. So it was parked on West Independence Square Street, and the public had an opportunity to go and visit the truck, see what's happening with the truck.
Wow.
We did not have much children this year, but next year we're looking to make it bigger.
Wow. And the drills today, when do they start? What time do they start?
1 p.m.
1. And where?
1 p.m.
In the vicinity of Bay Road, in the vicinity of Rams
and
Courts.
Okay.
By the roundabout.
Okay, right. What activities are you signed up for, Officer Martin?
I want to do all.
Fire chief is looking in the sky like he thinks I'm not going to ask him.
I know you're going to ask.
Yes.
I already know what my response is.
Let's hear.
Fortunately for me, I get to sit down and watch. Unlike last year,
he was a part of the.
I had to take part
of the
of.
fire truck
I was
pull.
Yes, and that team.
He was a part of the winning
team.
Oh,
won.
what?
Yes.
So then you should have gone back and lend your.
I can't do that this year because I have to be neutral. I can't pick a side. I have to cheer on all the teams now.
I see.
Now, he has to take my space as the station officer now. So he
that's
has
what's
to
happening.
pull. He has to pull for Bastia.
I pulled that.
Listen, we won
again.
And we won.
All right, then. I'm just putting that out there. Someone is asking if volunteering is being encouraged.
We are encouraging volunteering. We are trying to put together a more robust venture when it comes to the volunteer aspect of the job. So going forward, we have a lot of plans where it comes to volunteers. So the development of this plan is what we are looking at, and it should be a lot more robust and vibrant going forward.
Okay. That's good. And that's volunteering it when they have firefighting and stuff like that.
Yes.
Do you guys have a reserves, like old fire chiefs or old officers, like they want to come back in and give back time? Is that something?
We don't have a reserve. The volunteer system would act as a reserve.
Okay.
Because you can be a volunteer officer as a farmer firefighter. So that is what we are trying to rejuvenate and make it more. It exists. It is not as vibrant. So we want to make it more structured, so that it will be more beneficial to those on that program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I remember you saying that there was sports on Saturday?
Yeah.
So where's the sports happening?
At the Newtown Playfield.
So what are some of the activities that you guys would do as part of the sports day?
We'd have normal races. We'd have
Track
we
and
should have
field.
some track and field, tug of war, sack races, cricket, football, soccer. Yeah, what's are the common sports?
And when is it starting?
Um,
What time?
That is scheduled to start at 11 or 12. Yeah.
All right then. Well, I guess I still have an opportunity to pass by and cheer
Yes.
on.
Yes.
And I do know quite a few firefighters, so I'm not going to tell you guys who I'm backing right now. I'm backing who wins.
What I would like to shed some light on though is pertaining to the week of activities, where it all started, the International Firefighters Day. Now, this stems from an incident that happened many years back. So in 1998, there was a great tragedy in Australia where firefighters, they went to assist in extinguishing a brush fire. However, they were caught up in a whirlwind of there was this strong wind, where while they were in the fields, a strong wind changed direction.
Oh gosh.
And they were swept up in that fire. And all 5 who was on the fire appliance lost their life. So in 1999, they sought to recognize these officers for the job that they did. Firefighting is a job where we put our lives on the line. So recognizing that anything can happen while we are on duty, they sought to memorialize, so to speak, that incident, so everyone could have some awareness as to what we as firefighters have to go through.
Right.
So it was from since then that they had International Firefighters Day.
Wow.
So we try to keep that alive and commemorate that.
My goodness. That is so unfortunate, but
Yes,
it's good that you guys still shed light on it. And I noticed that there's an award show, award ceremony.
On Sunday.
Sunday.
Yes.
And where's it going to be held?
At the Solid Waste Conference Room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what time does it start?
It starts at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. All right then. So hopefully you guys will be able to follow in the footsteps of the persons that started this. I mean, for me, it's like I know you guys are there, but I think it's only when something happens then you're like, where are fire services, right? So it's like people only really pay keen attention when it's sometimes, unfortunately, too late.
Yep. Yeah.
So
We had that same conversation this morning.
Wow.
We are, only when something happens, persons remember firefighters. But we want to create a culture where firefighters, we are seen as really essential persons within the community.
And you guys are,
And
indeed.
we do so much other than just firefighting. So in all areas of our profession, we seek to save lives, whether it be coming and doing inspections and conducting drills with the workplace, everything. Doing presentations, just to keep the community safe.
Right. And then, of course, there's the volunteer action part of it, and then the children's camp. It's like you're speaking and I'm running through my head about some of the community things that you guys would have told us about.
That is an initiative that we are getting back on track since the COVID era.
Well, thank you guys for joining us this morning. It has been very informative. When he goes outside, let me know how he did in the race yesterday, because it seems to be a secret. He keeps saying it's not a race, right? Oh, we actually have callers. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Yeah,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me turn this radio down.
Thank you.
Hold on there. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Firefighters.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. I like when you all exhibit the drills. But do you all realize that especially in Bastille and around Liverpool Road in particular, there are many fire hazard buildings around here? unoccupied for years, and there are wooden structures. And with this kind of climate heat that is going around, God forbid that anything in those buildings there can be easily be lit from the heat. You all know what disaster will be in Bastille? So I want to know if the fire department has the power of authority to make me, who got my old wooden fire hazard, fire wick, still there doing nothing. If you all have the power to make me break them down, just to protect the community and the citizens around these fire hazards. That's my question. I'll listen out the ear.
Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah. Okay, thank you all.
We have another call? All right, so we lost that one. All right then, so.
Okay, so in relation to that callers and his question, it's a good question because we do have a few of those around town, not just around Liverpool, but we have a few around town. Some old building that has been there for some time. Unfortunately, the fire department on its own does not have that authority to say, hey, you need to take this building down. An initiative like that would have to be a collaborative effort between fire department and probably the building board, physical planning, who might have more authority in when it comes to that. So we can't just go and tell persons, hey, you need to knock this down because it's a fire hazard or fire wick, as the person would call it. It has to be a collaborative effort at this point with the persons who are responsible for, structures and buildings and what have you. Hopefully in the not too distant future, when we do get our own codes and fire codes and what's not, that would empower us and give us more authority when it comes to that. But for now, on our own, no.
Wow. But he does make an interesting point.
Yes, he does.
Because since he called, I'm running through my head about all the buildings that I actually see and that are indeed hazardous. And I think even earlier in the show, someone called about same, unoccupied, dilapidated buildings around St. Kitts.
Yes.
That are probably on prime real estate as well, prime land.
Bastille did had a tragedy in past years. This is the historian here.
So it's definitely possible.
Bastille did had a real tragic fire in the past that wiped out a lot of buildings.
Hopefully something that you guys can look into and work with the relevant authorities to sort out. Wow. Because I would hate to even think of something like that happening again.
Oh, mad.
Right. But for today, it's drills.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you guys are doing at the drills?
What the drills are, they're basically a depiction of what we do on an actual fire scene. The drills that we perform on an actual fire ground. And so that you see what we have to do. We have, for instance, the endurance drill. We have an officer who has to don his gears, put on his base set. He has to climb a ladder standing at 90 degrees. Being held by other officers. He has to climb all the way at the top.
Come over
with a fire hose over his shoulder.
So you cannot be afraid of heights.
No,
all right, then.
No.
How high is the ladder?
The ladder, I think, is about maybe 12, between 12 and 14 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
So glad I'm not the firefighter. So he has to don his gear, climb over the ladder with a hose attached, come down on the other side, and then
he has to beat a tire with a sledgehammer a certain distance, and he has to flip.
This is not the regular car tire.
It's a truck tire, and then he has to flip a bigger truck tire for a certain distance, and then he has to take two 5-gallon kits, and they come back to the.
No, he has to throw out a hose. Yeah, he has to throw out a hose. When he extends the hose, take up the 5-gallon kits, 2 5-gallon kits, and reach back to the starting
point.
Hey, how many persons have signed up for this? Because I
But
can't promise you anything like that.
That's the one. That's one of the more interesting drills. That's the one of the more competitive drills.
So that's
it's a
endurance.
one-person drill.
Oh.
So they get to brag that
Mhm.
I am
Mhm.
the fittest in the organization.
What's in the 5-gallon kits? Water?
The water. No,
With-
this time around
with
it'll
water?
fill with
Okay,
water.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And so that's endurance. And then there's another one?
Yeah, they have the one person race with a one man, one woman. This is where the fire officer stands right behind the fire appliance. There is a hose and a branch right there. So upon the word go, they take up the hose, they throw it out, then they run forward with one end, extend it straight, run back to the fire appliance, take up the branch, turn on the water with the hose connected, of course, to the truck. When they turn on the water, they have to run to the extreme end of the hose, snap in the branch before the water comes out of the hose. The length of the
What's the
hose.
length of the hose?
The longest one is 100 feet.
Hold on.
Sometimes you have a 75. So yeah.
Standard
And
75.
all of this is happening in the vicinity of the Bay
Bay
Road?
Road.
Yeah.
So you get, okay, so apart from having spectators, you're blocking off the road because, that's like a lot of activity going on there.
Yeah.
All right, then. I'm definitely going to pass by.
We're looking forward to seeing
Don't let
you
me
there.
down, you know. I'm betting, don't let me down.
So the highlight would be the fire truck pull.
Yeah, I think
it's called the Timothy Benjamin fire truck pull. We had an officer by the name of Timothy Benjamin. He's no longer with us now. But in commemoration of him and the work that he would have done throughout the service, we started to name the truck pull after him. And he was a real heavy set guy,
nice.
Nice. Really, yeah.
Wow.
One of our stalwarts within the fire services.
Definitely. Well, I am so happy to hear. I'm excited. I'm sure some of our listening audience are making notes and plans to come out and see you guys in
So
action
we're
today.
encouraging everyone to come out from 1 o'clock. Action is starting.
Nice. Okay, then. Well, best of luck to all the persons that have signed up. And I will see you guys there.
We'll see
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Island Tea this morning. Have an awesome weekend and see you at the fire drills.
That's right.
All right. See you there.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.